So the scholar said when it comes to the test, the blessings that are unlocked after the test in this life and the next are multiple, if you're actually taking an exam, most of you being students, I presume you can understand this when you're actually taking the test, right? To get this particular degree, what the degree will unlock for you in terms of career and in terms of potential and profession, right, are multiple doors. Whereas the test is limited to a time, a moment, you have to pass this particular test. And so when trials come to us in this life, look, you've got to get through this moment. But what will come after it is multiple. Multiple in what sense? Multiple in that the blessing might come to you in this life and or the next, but certainly in the next if you are patient. You'll certainly be rewarded for your trial in the next, no matter what, so long as you are patient. And you also may see some of that ease come in this life as well. Now, as we said, there is yusr in the plural, ease is in the plural, usr is in the singular, right? I want you to remember that next time you're reading this, okay? As great as your usr is, the yusr will always be greater. Notice here, Allah did not minimize your hardship. Allah doesn't say you're not really in pain. It's not a big deal. Get up, walk it off. Allah does not minimize the hardship. He simply maximizes the reward. There's a big difference between those two. Remember I said the person, good counselor is someone that gives you that strong advice, affirms you, speaks with certainty, belief in you, right? A bad one's like, walk it off, what's your problem? Other people go through this all the time. Don't you hate that when you're going through something bad? Like, other people go through this all the time. I went through this 2-3 times. I didn't cry like you. That's how I got fired from my message. No, that's not what happened. Not what happened, all right? But you don't tell someone, walk it off, right? Not a big deal. Stop being a crybaby, because you're then minimizing the pain. You don't minimize the pain. You maximize the reward, right? So Allah in comforting does not say to the Prophet ﷺ, Ta'if doesn't really hurt that bad, does it? Right? This persecution in Mecca is not that bad, but Allah turns the Prophet ﷺ's focus and the believers by extension to the reward, okay? The difference between the two in the Prophet ﷺ now is the one that's consoling when Khabbab radiallahu ta'ala anhu comes to the Prophet ﷺ. And I think of the scene and it's a hard one. Honestly, Khabbab struggled radiallahu ta'ala anhu. One of the greatest Sahaba. Honestly, you read about Khabbab radiallahu anhu, you fall in love with this man. What he went through, what he struggled with, incredible human being. And Khabbab radiallahu anhu sees the Prophet ﷺ sitting with his back against the Kaaba and his legs extended. Meaning, sometimes, when Allah says that you might think someone is from the aghniya, they're okay because of their ta'affuf, because of the way that they're carrying themselves. You might make the wrong assumption about the amount of suffering or the amount of pain they're going through, right? Person might be going through a lot, but something is keeping them going in a certain way. And so to the outside, you don't really understand the full extent to what that struggle is. So Khabbab sees the Prophet ﷺ reclined against the Kaaba. And he says to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, ala tad'u lana, ala tastansir lana. Aren't you going to make dua for us? Aren't you going to seek victory for us? Let me ask you all a question. Don't you think the Prophet ﷺ was doing that? A lot. In Badr, the whole night before the Battle of Badr, the Prophet ﷺ didn't sleep to get refreshed for the fight. He spent the whole night making dua for the Muslims. For what? Victory. Prophet ﷺ could have told Khabbab, hey, you don't understand, I'm doing that. He didn't do that. He told Khabbab, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that people that came before you were sawed in half for la ilaha illallah, for this belief. Allah is going to give us victory. We're going through this together. The yusr is going to come. Focus on that. It's going to come. So here, inna ma'al usri yusra, focusing on the yusra, focusing on the reward. The greater the difficulty, the greater the reward. Think about this for a moment. For some, There will be no yusr except in the hereafter. And as a believer, you accept that. I'm telling you, one of our greatest problems is that we demand justice be imminent. We demand the answer be imminent. We demand ease be imminent. We want to see it now, 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 now. It's natural to want to see things happen, but now or else. I'm going to stop making dua. I'm going to stop believing. I'm going to have a crisis. No, as a believer, that's not even a question for me. Because the one who can answer in 1 second can answer in 1,000,000 years as he sees fit. Why would I take my limited understanding and try to impose it on him? I'm good. I'm going to work for justice. I'm going to work for my prayers to be answered, but I'm not going to impose my understanding on Al-Alim, Al-Hakim. Doesn't make sense. The all-knowing, the all-wise. Why would I try to impose my understanding on him?